is our big idea, number one. It's about quality, not quantity. And you might be asking yourself from a parent's perspective, what should I be thinking about in terms of quality of screen time? It's really hard to decipher, especially in some of the examples that I gave, like, you know, is Twitch good or bad? Is Instagram good or bad for my child? It's really hard to make these decisions. One thing that I think is really useful to think about are these 4 C's. I think in the original writing of this, they're characterized as the 3 C's, but I've seen later iterations where they add the 4th. So thinking about context, content, your child, and connections. So for content, what is being watched or how is it being used? So here is a little checklist that have, you know, -1 or +1 or +2 next to them, where you can actually go through, and if you're watching your child do something, you can go through this checklist and do that yourself. So is your child watching media or playing games that are violent, scaring, or troubling to him or her? That's going to be a -2. Are the characters modeling positive social skills? Are the media designed to promote conversation or help language building skills? Do media stimulate off-screen comments or questions? Off-screen play, creation, imagination, or exploration? Do media feature some of the traits you are looking for in a teacher or a classroom? Context is the next one. So where, when, how are digital media accessed? Are you leaving the screen or TV on even when no one's watching? I know some researchers have done studies where they looked at background television noise, and for the most part, people would say that this is very negative to have a television on in the background with no one talking about it. I have heard though that for some children, perhaps with sensory issues, maybe children with ASD, this might actually be beneficial to have some background noise to kind of take away from other things. So it's, you know, again, I'll show you the other C, which is thinking about your child, but really think about your child and the context here. Are media replacing calming routines that could help during bedtime? If so, that might be problematic. Do you have moments in which you are jointly watching or playing with your child? After your child watches or plays, are there chances to talk about what was seen or played? Are screen media used during meal times in a way that impedes conversation? Do you talk to your child about your use of TV, video, tablets, or e-readers and what you find valuable about them? Do you tune out and miss cues from your child when using devices or screen time? So this context question, at least when I look at these indicators on the checklist, is things are more positive if you're using the media as a conversation starter. If you're also being open and metacognitive about your own use of technology and then talking to your child about that, that's also very helpful. Then another one is the child. So is there anything that you know that you need to pay attention to about your child? So I mentioned before the comment about sensory issues, and that in some contexts, it's actually really good to have background TV on. For some children, screens and technology can be really useful for helping some children to communicate. So also thinking about that. Screen time is not a one-size-fits-all model. It's highly dependent on your child, the context that they're using the tech in, and the content that they're looking at. So is there anything that you need to pay attention to about your child? Do you see particular media experiences assisting your child as he or she progresses in motor skills, social skills, or language development? Have you started to differentiate between media experiences that are not helping your child's development and those that are? If you find that your child gets upset when watching certain types of content, do you watch with him or her or find ways to avoid that media? And are you paying attention to asking enough questions to tell whether your child is engaged by what is on the screen? Does he or she act on or talk about what he or she sees or plays with. And these you can, if you were inclined to do so, can calculate a score and have a total score. And the developer of this has broken out different scores. So if you have mostly negative things, so -8 to 0, that this might be a suggestion for the parent to pay greater attention to the games and videos your child is playing and watching. Anything positive, it's, you know, you're on the right track. You're paying attention to what's on the screen and what kinds of conversations your child has. You're doing fine. The fourth C, I have it after we did the total score because it wasn't actually included in the calculation. So 4C is connection. So whether and how relationships are facilitated or impeded. Are there ways that you can connect with your child via the screen? Is your child making connections with people in the digital environment? And I know the second point is could be thought of in both positive and negative ways, because on the one hand, these digital environments could give your child an opportunity to connect with people that he or she isn't able to. So especially now, without being able to maybe physically go to school or see friends. But there's also a bit of a worry and a danger of strangers and those kinds of things. So, you know, being aware of maybe who your child is interacting with.